We all hope in every transaction when it comes to buying a house, because it is already stressful enough, that everything goes exactly according to plan. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. Why? Because there's a lot of people involved in the puzzle, from buyers and sellers and buyer's agents and selling agents and the mortgage expert and the title representatives and the appraisers and the credit report and like all these different things. There's a lot happening in the background that you are not necessarily seeing. And if one of those parties throw a wrench into the transaction, you want someone who can pivot. If you don't have somebody that can pivot, I can promise you your life becomes a world of hurt. Because now, since they don't know how to do their job appropriately, they're gonna put it back on you. And they're gonna either be saying, sorry, I guess we can't do it after all. And now you've invested money and your emotions and everything else in this thing. Make sure you pick an expert, somebody who's in your corner, somebody who cares about you as a person and is invested in your success to cross that finish line. Because if they're not, if you're just another number, if it's just a paycheck to them, I'm telling you, not only will it be really difficult and not necessarily a super fun process for you. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Financial Mastery Simplified. I am your host, Jacqueline or Jax Crider, and today it is me solo, but I really wanted to talk to you about something that I'm super passionate about. I had a conversation with a friend literally minutes ago, and I thought, you know what? I really want to make a podcast about that. I don't necessarily need anybody else to do it because I literally am the expert on the matter. And I just wanted to make sure that I really go over and kind of dive into why it is so incredibly important to pick a mortgage expert. So for those of you who have never listened to the podcast before, or you are not familiar with me at all, my name is Jacqueline Jax Crider, and I run a company called PBJ Mortgage, where we are making mortgage simple as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I also run Financial Mastery Simplified, which is not just a podcast platform. It also has other kinds of things. I have spent my career doing nothing but money and very practical application type things, okay? So for instance, I have a law degree. I have sold life insurance. I have sold property and casualty. For those of you who are not familiar with what that means like homeowners and car insurance. I have spent over 20 years in the mortgage space doing almost every single job in mortgage. I am an expert at my craft, and I take very big pride on that. And I wanted to take a minute to sort of explain why it matters so much. So arguably, home buying is literally part of the American dream. There's nothing that resonates more with people, right, than owning a piece of the American dream, which is a home. And so even though not everybody feels that way, and that's perfectly understandable, that is a lot of people's aim and a lot of people's goal. And as I've seen the industry sort of progress, I've seen this kind of disturbing thing happen that I just really wanted to address. So number one, we deal a lot with the fact that a lot of people try to come into mortgage because they see it as a quick buck. They see it as something that you get paid really well at. So they just want to come in. They don't really care about valuing the customer as an individual or as a whole. They're not really there for the longevity of that client. That's not what they're really interested in, what their aim is. And for me, that's really sad. I don't do this just because it puts food on my table. That is definitely one of the reasons, right, that I'm in mortgage. One of the bigger reasons that I'm in mortgage, though, is because I genuinely want people to reach their full potential when it comes to their financial goals. And owning a home is usually one of the cornerstones of that. Probably people have heard me say it is one of the largest wealth differentiators that there is. But beyond that, it's just something that, like I said, people really want to be a part of their financial picture. And so it's super important. Not only that, but the mortgage is usually the largest debt you will ever hold. It's not something that is just, hey, we're going to take out a $500, put $500 on a credit card. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. And while a lot of us may wish that we didn't have to take that money out, right, and get that big loan, we wish we had it in cash. Arguably, for a lot of us, that's just not in the cards. It's not something that we will be able to achieve in the really immediate future. And that's a hard thing. And so I think that so many people believe that having a mortgage is this sort of simple process, kind of easy, maybe like buying a car, right? Where there's just a couple of little small factors and that's it. I am here to tell you that there's a lot of factors that go into a mortgage. It's one of the main reasons that people think that they're so complicated and that they're so hard. I will tell you that yes, they are, but you being the consumer, it should not be something that is hard for you. If you hire the right expert, they're gonna take a lot of that off. The entire reason my company is called PBJ Mortgage, making mortgage simple as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Imagine having the power to control your financial destiny, no matter where you start. Welcome to the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform, where financial education is tailored to your unique journey. We cover everything you need, from basic budgeting and saving strategies to advanced investing and retirement planning. Learn at your own pace with lessons that match your level of experience. Whether you're a beginner or looking to enhance your financial knowledge, join our community of learners and benefit from shared insights and expert guidance. The Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform equips you with the skills and confidence to take charge of your financial future. Ready to master your finances? Enroll in our courses today at the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform. Start your path to financial independence now.
Visit us at fms.tips and fms.college for more information.
Hello and welcome to PBJ Mortgage, where your home ownership dreams become reality. Today, we want to share why choosing PBJ Mortgage is the right choice for your home financing needs. At PBJ Mortgage, we're built on a foundation of values that drive us every day. Our commitment to educate, empathize, and empower our clients sets us apart in the mortgage industry. Our clients are at the heart of everything we do, and their success stories speak volumes. With years of experience, our team possesses in-depth knowledge of the mortgage programs, ensuring you receive expert guidance and the best possible rates. We offer a diverse range of loan options to suit your unique needs, including conventional, FHA, VA, and more. No matter your situation, we've got a solution. At PBJ Mortgage, we pride ourselves on providing personalized service. Our dedicated loan officers are here to guide you every step of the way, making the process as smooth as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We understand that time is of the essence, which is why we've streamlined our processes for efficiency and convenience. Transparency and clear communication are paramount. You'll always know where you stand throughout your mortgage journey. Reach out to us today to set up a call to discover your options. If you're ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality, contact PBJ Mortgage today. Let us empower you during this exciting journey. Phone number 4-693-733-107 www.pbjteam.com. Visit our website or give us a call to get started. We look forward to helping you secure your future home. PBJ Mortgage, where home begins.
Thanks for your patience.
It is not your job to deal with the circus on the back end of the file. My job is to try to take as much stress off of you as a professional as I humanly can. Buying a house is a stressful process. That just is, what it is. Arguably, people say that sometimes it's even more stressful than having a baby. They say it's even more stressful than starting a new job. And we know that those life changes come with their own challenges. And I think a lot of stress in the home buying space truly comes from my part, which is mortgage. And so I firmly believe that that can be avoided. It's not something that has to be complicated if the right expert is chosen, right? So, I could tell you story after story about all kinds of people, and I'm going to tell a few here in a minute, just about different scenarios that we've run into in the course of my career and sort of why having the expert mattered in that particular situation. But I can't stress enough that even though you have been trained and taught time over time via ads, via maybe you've had some conversations with people, via the media, they have gotten you to buy into this false belief that the interest rate is just the end all. And please do not misunderstand me. interest rates are important. They are obviously factoring into your end monthly payment, and so they do matter. But there's tons of factors that are happening on the back end that you're not seeing that is going into feeding how that rate is being determined. And there's literally, in the mortgage side, thousands of choices between products and programs, interest rates, different types of closing cost scenarios, so many different options. And I'm going to stress to you that if you're going to go through the house buying process, if you're not going to utilize myself and my team, that's perfectly fine. But what I am going to heavily encourage you to do is make sure that you have asked questions or really vetted out to ensure that the person that you're speaking with is truly a professional, okay? Because the professional, like that's really what matters, is that professional, right? And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So one, we're going to start with the pressure or non-pressure. Somebody who doesn't care about your best financial interest, they're going to try to push for you to go ahead and buy the house. Why? Because they're not going to get paid if you're not going to buy the house. Okay. Myself and my team, that's not our deal. Do we want you to buy a house because you likely want to buy a house? Absolutely. We do. Okay. Do we care if now's not the right time or you feel like you need to put a pin in it for a minute while you get your ducks in a row? No, we absolutely don't care. Okay. However, a good mortgage professional should challenge you. And that's where I'm going to tell this story. So a very dear friend of mine, she and I have literally known each other since preschool. She comes to me and she says, hey, Jax, I would love to buy a home, but I'm a single woman and I don't know if that's a good idea for me to buy a house. And I said, okay, cool. Help me understand this. Why is this that you think that being a single woman, you can't own a home? And she's like, well, what if something breaks? And I said, well, there are ways you can kind of maneuver around things breaking. Like, for instance, you can get a home warranty, right? It's not going to cover everything, but it definitely will potentially kind of bridge that gap on some of those things. There's things that if you can't do them, you can potentially hire a handyman to do, right? Or another kind of professional. So there's some choices there. And she's like, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that. I said, okay, that's very valid, right? Her feelings were very valid. And we talked that through a little bit. And she said, also, I just don't know, if financially it's going to make sense. And I said, okay, that also is a very valid concern, right? Is it going to make sense for me financially? And this is what I challenged her with. I said, look, here's the truth. In your particular situation, because she happens to be a teacher, your income is not going to move very much, okay? In the next 10, 15, 20 years, truthfully, it's not really going to move very much because how much she gets paid more is going to be determined by the city. It's usually a smaller window of a money. It's not like some large chunk that they get added to. She doesn't really have the ability to make bonuses or commissions like some of the rest of us do maybe in the corporate space or the entrepreneurial space. And I said, this is something that you are going to find in the very near future is going to be a challenge for you if you don't look to buy a home really soon. Number one, you are literally going to price yourself out of the market. You will not be able to afford a home on your own. That's not me being a jerk. That's just the truth. The math is the math. Right? So unless you're either willing to take on a second job that will ensure that you bridge that gap financially, right? Or you decide to have a significant other or a roommate or a family member come in and co-sign and be on that loan with you, you're not going to be able to qualify for that amount. And again, this is not me trying to be a jerk. It's just the math is the math. So I said, you have a window that is closing for you on being able to afford that home by yourself or not. And so I'm never going to pressure you to buy a house by any stretch. You have to make that call on your own. But you have to ask yourself, is your fear of owning this home by yourself worth you possibly not being able to own a home by yourself ever? Or you having to make a hard choice like moving to an area where that is something that you could afford, right? So as the story goes, she actually did choose to listen to my advice and purchase a property. Now we fast forward and she has owned that home for, I believe, about 11 years. The property has pretty much tripled in value. Think about, even if she gets to a point where she can no longer afford this house, where she has to actually sell the property and go either get a roommate or whatever she has to do, right? Because she doesn't feel like she can afford that house anymore. How much more money does she have simply by owning that home than she would have had? Right? And so sometimes a good mortgage professional is going to challenge your beliefs because sometimes there's stories you're telling yourself that you're just not being honest about. And I get it. I guess I'm a little unusual. I never felt like owning a home was never something I could accomplish. I always believed that was possible. I don't know if it's because I started working in mortgage super young at like the age of basically 19. I think actually technically I was 18, but 18, 19 years old. Or if it's because I had always grown up living in a house. So I definitely had that privilege of like living in a house that was owned. I'm not really sure. But what I can tell you is it is in the cards for anybody who wants it. You might have to get creative. You might have to make some sacrifices, right? Pair up with a friend and co-sign, for a house together or do something, like that, etc. The thing about it is there is choices, and any good professional is going to try to help lay that groundwork for you. Say, hey, this isn't a choice, but this might be. Another thing that you have to understand is that a mortgage expert should be able to shift when challenges arise. So we all hope in every transaction when it comes to buying a house, because it is already stressful enough, that everything goes exactly according to plan. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. Why? Because there's a lot of people involved in the puzzle, from buyers and sellers and buyer's agents and selling agents and the mortgage expert and the title representatives and the appraisers and the credit report and like all these different things. There's a lot happening in the background that you're not necessarily seeing. And if one of those parties throw a wrench into the transaction, you want someone who can pivot. If you don't have somebody that can pivot, I can promise you your life becomes a world of hurt, because now, since they don't know how to do their job appropriately, they're going to put it back on you. And they're going to either be saying, sorry, I guess we can't do it after all. And now you've invested money and your emotions and everything else in this thing. Or they're going to basically make you come up with a solution or somebody else come up with a solution. And truthfully, that's not anyone else's job. If things are going sideways, even if I'm not the one who created the problem, which arguably very rarely is the mortgage side the one who creates the problem. Occasionally, maybe there's something that we overlooked. But usually it's stuff that somebody either didn't tell us, they either lied or didn't think it was important, right? That happens quite often. Or something that nobody knew about pops up.
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Welcome to Financial Mastery Simplified, your go-to podcast for making smart money decisions. We break down complex financial topics into easy-to-understand advice you can use every day. Our experts cover everything from budgeting and saving to investing and retirement planning. We give you the tools to take control of your money and build the future you want. With Financial Mastery Simplified, you'll feel informed and empowered to make the best choices for your financial health. Tune in to Financial Mastery Simplified on your favorite podcast platform. Start your journey to financial confidence today.
Visit us at fms.tips and fms.college for more information.
Welcome to House U, where we believe in the power of education. At House U, we're more than just a brand. We're your partner in home ownership, dedicated to educating, equipping, and empowering you every step of the way. Education is at the heart of everything we do. We offer comprehensive resources designed to make home ownership simple and accessible for all. From understanding mortgage options to mastering home maintenance, House U provides the knowledge you need to make informed decisions with confidence. We host workshops and seminars, bringing together experts and community members to share insights and build a stronger, more informed community. Because when you're educated, you're empowered. House U, home ownership made simple for all. Visit our website or contact us today to start your journey with House U. Empower yourself with knowledge and embrace the joy of home ownership.
Thanks for your patience. Now back to our conversation.
Because stuff happens. You want somebody to be able to pivot. And I can tell you a story to that end as well. So we had a young couple. They had been building a home. They had been building this home, this dream home of theirs for a while, like 10, 11 months. And the builder had to delay. And it was very frustrating for the couple because they were ready to go. They pretty much had already told their apartment that they were like about to be done. And so now they were month to month, which was costing them more. And finally, the builder gave us a date and they said, hey, we're going to be ready in about 3 weeks. Perfect. Awesome. Great. What happens about 1 week after they tell us they're ready to go? The husband loses his job. The wife calls me and she's in tears. She's so emotional because they've not only emotionally invested, they are about to not have a place to live, or I mean, they're a month, and they had just turned in their notice, right, to vacate within 30 days. And so she's like, where are we going to live if I can't buy this house? And not only that, but they also have invested emotionally, right? They invested money, earnest money. And if, for those of you who don't know, usually builders require more money down as like an earnest money deposit than even a traditional real estate deal does. And so, yeah, so that's like this huge thing that was happening. So stressful for her. I said, okay. I said, first of all, I need you to take a deep breath. I know this is very upsetting and this sucks. I need to know a few things. Number one, does he have a new job? Luckily, he did. He had immediately gone out and found a new job. Awesome. I'm going to need you, as I tell you, jump, you say how high, and we're going to work through this and we're going to figure it out. And we did exactly that. And we closed on their transaction about 3 days late. That was it. 3 days. Why was I able to do that? Because I've been doing this for so long and so at an expert level that myself and my team can pivot. I have enough people in my back pocket in my industry that if I do not know the answer, I will go and I will seek it out. I will find it and I will ensure that it gets handled. Not only because it's the right thing to do, because that is what an expert does. And it upsets me because so often people are not seeing the big picture here. All they see is, well, this interest rate might be teeny tiny bit lower than what you're offering or whatever. And they're not looking at everything else. They're not looking at what potential cost the other person is charging them. They're not looking at the level of expertise. They're not looking at so many factors. This is America. You have the freedom to make whatever choice you want. And if you choose not to pick an expert and you just want to pick who you feel like is going to be okay, by all means, that's totally your right. And you're not going to hurt my feelings if you choose not to use myself and my team. But what I do want to make sure that people understand and they know as we're going into 2025, and that's on a lot of people's radar, right? Is that the interest rates are hopefully supposed to be coming down. And, I want to be a homeowner. I've wanted to be a homeowner for a long time. I'm going to speak to you and tell you, if you do nothing else, nothing, make sure you pick an expert, somebody who's in your corner, somebody who cares about you as a person and is invested in your success to cross that finish line. Because if they're not, if you're just another number, if it's just a paycheck to them, I'm telling you, not only will it be really difficult and not necessarily a super fun process for you, it's possible that when the unexpected does happen, and I pray for each and every one of you out there that whatever real estate transactions you encounter, that you don't deal with those unexpected things, but that expert, if it comes up, if it pops up out of nowhere, that they have the ability to pivot for you, that they have the ability to ensure that you get exactly what you signed up for, which was that house, the one that you invested your time, your emotions, your energy in. So as she and I were having this conversation today and we were talking about, she used to be in mortgage as well and why she got out, because it's super cutthroat. Just for you people who are not aware, when we pull your credit in mortgage, when we do an actual hard pull, not a soft pull, and there is a difference. Okay. A hard pull is basically when we're telling the world that you're applying to get a mortgage and we're starting the process fully, like we're going through the transaction. The credit agency sell your information to other people and you start getting 15 or 20 phone calls from bottom feeders who are trying to convince you that I don't know what I'm talking about and that I'm a moron. Or sometimes they lie to you and they'll tell you that they're part of my company, that they just need a few documents from you. They will pull shady stuff. Or like what happened last week. We have a customer, we've been working with him for months, trying to make sure to set up his reverse mortgage properly because it is a super solid financial decision for him, for his particular situation. Not for everybody. Reverse is not a perfect fit for everybody, but for him, it is. It's a perfect fit. Unfortunately, his appraisal came in a little bit lower because the market has been a little funky in the last couple of years. And so this had him actually bringing a little bit of money to the table. This was still probably the best possible solution. And another professional who wanted to try to snake the deal for himself convinced the guy that we were lying to him, that we weren't telling him the truth, that he should wait 16 months to do this. So for 16 months, this gentleman can continue to struggle, making sure to make his bills paid because somebody else decided to tell him that we didn't know what we were talking about. What upsets me is not that we lost the deal. That's not what's upsetting to me. That's perfectly fine. If you ever start doing a loan with me and you decide, you know what, this is not the best decision for me personally, for me and my family, whatever that looks like, I absolutely will tell you that's perfectly fine. No hard feelings. It doesn't matter how much work we spent and no matter how much money we expended to try to get you to the finish line. If you're not ready to cross it, that's okay by me. I promise. What's not okay is that other people in this cutthroat space will literally sell their soul for the deal. That's why I cannot stress enough how important an expert is, that they need to be in your corner, that you get tailored advice, not you wanted this product because you heard it was a first-time homebuyer product, and so we're just going to throw you in there, whether it makes sense or not. Yeah, I have literally managed tons of LOs over the course of my career. I have trained them. I have given them all kinds of tools and resources to be able to utilize. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they do not vet things. I'll never forget that I had to stop a loan officer from giving an FHA loan to a customer who clearly was better suited for a conventional loan. And I asked the LO, I asked the loan officer, I said, okay, why does she want an FHA loan? Well, it's a first-time homebuyer product. And I said, not necessarily. FHA can be for first-time homebuyers, but what's her specific reason? Well, she heard it was a first-time homebuyer product. I said, but you know better than that. She's looking to put 20% down. She's looking to do it this particular way. She's 10 times better using a conventional loan product than using an FHA. That's what an expert tells you. An expert breaks it down. An expert hears what you have to say. An expert, you're not a number there. So I don't usually do solo podcast. I've done probably 3 or 4 over the course of this last, 9 months or so that I've been doing the podcast. But this one I felt super passionate about because it is literally my lifeblood to do nothing but help you succeed financially at the level that you desire. It's not about me. If you want to live in a van and travel around the country and never own a home, that's okay with me. I'm still going to help you financially succeed. If I can't do it on the mortgage side, then I'm going to do it on the financial instincts framework side. I'm going to help you overcome your limiting beliefs, make sure that you make the money that you seek. And if I can't do it that way, I'm going to give you a budgeting tool that's going to help you figure out where your money is going so that you can understand how you want to spend it better. Not my way of doing it. Who cares? If you want to go to Starbucks 4,000 times a month, I don't care. If you can afford it and that's important to you, you go for it, baby. You do you. But so often what happens is so many of these industries, they're just shoving everybody into a box. They're just shoving you into whatever they feel like works for you, and they haven't considered you. And that's a mistake of mass proportion. So on the mortgage side, on the financial side, when it comes to something that will make or break your life like money will, pick the expert, baby. Pick the person who gives a damn. Because if you don't pick that person, you're going to constantly be feeling like you made the wrong choice or why did it work out this way? And yes, sometimes, even when you pick the non-expert, it might work out. And if that is the route you go, I do hope it works out for you genuinely. I don't like anybody to struggle. I really don't. Whether they go with me or not, I don't want them to struggle. But I just can't stress enough. Don't put yourself through the headache. Care about yourself enough to pick the person that's fully in your corner. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. I actually wrote a book to the whole tune. If you are trying to buy a house, you definitely want to check out Mortgage 101, The Secret Sauce to Home Buying. It's literally going to lay out the steps of exactly how you apply for the loan, why things matter, what those things are. It has all those kinds of stories, like a couple of the ones that I just told. It does all of those things. And I didn't write the book because I'm going to make tons of money off a book. Just so we're clear, you actually don't make very much money off of a book. I wrote it as a labor of love because after talking to thousands of clients over the course of my career, I have a true passion to make sure that you get to where you want to be. I even include a whole bunch of like checklists and resources. If you buy the book, like at the end, there's a QR code that takes you there so that you can then have access to all of these things to make sure that you end up exactly where you want to be. So again, please pick an expert. Please go through and know what you want and know that the people that are helping you are in your corner and give a crap about you. It's so important. I can't stress that enough. And I hope for those of you listening who do already own a house or whatever, I hope that was your experience. I hope that your person really helped you, tailored that solution. And if they didn't, make sure that the next time you go through that process, make sure the next time that you hear a friend say, hey, I'm going to buy a house or whatever, that they don't make your mistake. Be vulnerable enough to step up and say that. Because somebody very near and dear to my life, they did that. They chose that the first time they went around not to pick me. And that's fine. They didn't want to bear their financials to me. I get it. They wanted to be private because they were very close to me. Understood that too. But unfortunately, that individual got hosed. And so the next time around, they said, hey, Jax, will you please help me with this? Absolutely, for sure. And I didn't shame them about not using me. I didn't tell them, how dare you make that mistake? Because that was their path, and that's okay. So if you had a challenge, be vulnerable with those around. Make sure that you're pointing them in the right direction so they don't go through what you went through, right? We don't want people to have that experience. That's not fun. Not when it's something so important, where you live. That's so important. So now I will officially wrap up the episode. Again, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please share it with a friend. There's nothing more than I want in this life for people to succeed, and I really mean that. I mean that to my core. And so if I can just help one person, that'll be enough for me. Just one person. Thanks.